Hello everyone and welcome back to Crawlers Gaming. Today we are going to take a look at the top 10 video game spin-offs. These will not necessarily be the best spin-offs produced over the years, but they are the top 10 that dare to venture out of the comfort zone of the original genre and somehow interested me personally. So, let's get started. Number 10. One of the originators of the real-time strategy genre from the studio which made the genre's first true entry, Command & Conquer, has not only been a series with many real-time strategy under its belt. Command & Conquer Renegade came out at the height of the series' fame, right after the beloved Red Alert 2, and just as posters for Command & Conquer Generals were filling up the pages of video game magazines all over the world. It was just so fascinating to see the world of Command & Conquer from a first-person view, before we only got to see it from the point of a commander. This game changed everything. Suddenly, each and single enemy posed a threat, and the tanks were no longer cute little rectangles on the ground. Now they were these massive things you needed to fear. Luckily, we got to play as Havok, who seemed to be a descendant of both Rambo and Chuck Norris. And he could even drive, a thing that certainly wasn't common back in the day, at least in games. I personally enjoyed Command & Conquer Renegade, but sadly, the second installment never showed up. Number 9. The person who came up with just the idea of plants battling zombies was clearly on drugs. Because, well, it's insane, but also insanely successful. The well-known tower defense game recently celebrated another birthday, and its seats continue to grow. And if you never played Plants vs. Zombies, you should. It's really fun. But a few years ago, PopCap decided to venture out into a genre that took the insanity up to 11. They decided to create a third-person multiplayer shooter out of Plants vs. Zombies. And it worked! How? I don't know. But apart from the 2 installments of Garden Warfare, they also released its third Plants vs. Zombies shooter game. This time, the crazy Battle for Neighborville. Again, it is a team-focused shooter where you have the option to play as one of the 20 different plants or zombie heroes in 6 different modes. And while I personally prefer the Plants vs. Zombies tower defense games, if you have a bunch of drunk and or high friends, then Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Naperville will certainly be fun. Number 8. You probably heard of the board game Go. So, is this just a video game version of it? No. This has nothing to do with the board game. Go games are a full subgenre of many successful games from Square Enix that showed us one of the best ways to take full-fledged AAA games onto mobile. It all started with Hitman Go. Then we had Lara Croft Go, Deus Ex Go, and then it sadly ended. Why? Because mobile gamers are idiots. Instead of being willing to pay $5 measly for a great game, they continue to spend hundreds in free-to-play games with ridiculous business practices. But back to Go games. Go games are turn-based puzzle games set in the well-known universes of AAA games, and as such, they play completely differently than their bigger cousins. Instead of quick action, you need to think, learn, adapt as the levels continue to grow in difficulty. This is how great mobile games should be. Number 7. Halo Wars has sort of a similar fate as the recently released Gears Tactics have. The story of how a famous, great, and originally Xbox shooter decided to find its place among strategy games. Halo Wars was even a bigger attempt than Gears Tactics is. The development was handled by the very best Ensemble Studios, creators of the beloved Age of Empires. They were tasked with a singular goal: show that real-time strategies can work on a console with just a controller. And somehow, they did it. Not only did Halo Wars work as a strategy game, it was completely unique, at least on consoles. This makes the fact that in January of 2009, the studio was disbanded just a month before the release that much more sadder. This is one of the things that Microsoft did that I will never forgive. But if you want to see what the fuss was about, in 2017, a second installment was released, Halo Wars 2, and even on the PC, and it is still a decent real-time strategy. Number 5. Many of the younger ones among you will know of Heroes of Might and Magic, but probably not so many of you will actually know that Heroes of Might and Magic itself is a spin-off of the original old-school role-playing games which started coming out way back in 1986. I personally loved these RPGs, or at least the later ones which I played. I grew up playing the 6th, 7th, and 8th installment. The time's flying over news sorpital. But the most interesting spin-off of the Might and Magic series is certainly the action role-playing game known as Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, which was created after Ubisoft bought the brand and decided to modernize it. Dark Messiah seemingly had everything it needed to succeed. The experienced developer team, Arcane, the amazing Half-Life 2 engine, a generous budget, and lots of media attention. So, what was the result like? Amazing! A fun, first-person action RPG that gave you options whether you'd attack everything with brute strength, destroy it with powerful magic, or creep around in stealth. If you want to try something retro, yet a bit different, Dark Messiah of Might and Magic is worth a play even to this day. Number 5. Metal Gear games have their rule. If Hideo Kojima wasn't there during the development, the game sucks. But every rule has its exception, and Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is this exception. While it is not part of Metal Gear canon, while it was developed by Platinum Games, and while instead of being a stealth game, it is a frantic, kill everything game, Revengeance is just awesome. Raiden is an unstoppable beast, cutting down hordes of enemies, and sometimes it feels like you're just cutting whole levels in half. The controls are precise, the graphics are amazing, the story is thrilling. And the boss fights, among the best in the hack and slash genre. And the best part, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance can be played by anyone, even those who have no clue about what happened in the rest of the bizarre Metal Gear universe. Number 4. Thronebreaker is a great story. Once upon a time, there was Gwent, a strange card game which dwarves played in the Witcher books of Andrzej Sapkowski without him ever telling us what the rules are. Then Witcher 3 came, and Gwent was a minigame in it. People loved it so much that they started to print the cards out and play it in real life. So the developers decided to remake it into full-fledged games. But fate works in mysterious ways, and instead of one game, 2 were born. First was Gwent, the Witcher card game, an online card game which turned out to be evil. By which I mean it was kind of boring in the end. And the younger and lesser known Thronebreaker, The Witcher Tales, a single player card role-playing game which turned out to be epic. Stylish graphics? Check. A great story about Queen Maeve? Double check. Original ideas and gameplay? Check, check, check. If you haven't played Thronebreaker, go and play it now. Because there probably is no other game out there where you will get to play against rocks, or even aggressive cows. Number 3. Bully. That certainly doesn't sound as if it has anything to do with Grand Theft Auto. Not even the second name of the game, Canis Canem Edit, used in countries where the name Bully was too much for the censors, seems similar. Yet, Bully takes place in the GTA universe and thus, in my mind at least, it is a spin-off. We get the open world, the iconic gameplay, and even the politically incorrect humor. But instead, it all takes place at Bulworth, a high school dormitory of all places. At first glance, everyone looks like the next Al Gore or Winston Churchill, but underneath, you can find a cruel world of an elite high school where battles sometimes worse than gang wars take place. If you haven't tried out Bully and you love GTA, then you should certainly give Bully a try. Number 2. World of Warcraft? Why is one of the largest games ever on a spin-off list? Well, because originally it was a spin-off. Many of you probably only heard of the Warcraft strategy game very recently with its, well, not so great Reforged edition. But before the most successful MMORPG came to be, there were 3 great Warcraft strategies. But World of Warcraft made the strategies look like tiny dwarfs. At one point, over 12 million subscriptions were active. The game got, so far, 8 expansions. It completely redefined the online multiplayer genre, got featured in The Simpsons, in South Park, and ended with its own spin-off, Hearthstone. World of Warcraft is a prime example of a Padawan outgrowing its master. And if you haven't played World of Warcraft, well, you can almost consider yourself lucky, because you haven't lost days, weeks, months, or even years to its addictive gameplay. Number 1. When talking about spin-offs, there is a brand that took all the spin-offs and made itself their king. Mario. It all started very innocently in 1981, when the now cult-like platformer Donkey Kong was released. Then the even more cult-like platformer Super Mario Bros. Came in 1985. Then, well, nothing short of 35 years of mostly great creative titles with fun gameplay. Over the years, we have seen Mario as a hero in Super Mario RPG, a level designer, Super Mario Maker, as a runner, Super Mario Run, a dancer, Dance Dance Revolution's Mario Mix, tennis player, Mario Tennis, golfer, Mario Golf, soccer player, Mario Smash Football, Mario as Schumacher in Mario Kart, as a fighter in Super Smash Bros., or even with rabbits in Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. There is no doubt, Mario is the king of spin-offs, and we can only expect him to grow his kingdom in the coming years.